they may happen again, but it just might not be next year. It might be 2 years from now or 3 years from now or 4 years from now. I mean, historically, the same patterns and the same setups usually do keep occurring, but they don't make it that easy for you that, what worked this month is going to work next month, or going to work the month after, or going to work the month after that. So you have to keep an open mind, keep adapting, and overall just keep trading the environment that we have. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is you want to trade what's in front of you. What's the current environment today?
Hello, and welcome to the Trader's Journey for Investors Underground. Today, I'm excited to have back on the show veteran trader Phil Goedeker. Known for his incredible discipline and adaptability, Phil continues to be a successful trader who inspires others at all skill levels. In this episode, we'll review Phil's 2024 year in review, where he made some bold shifts in strategy, from developing a long bias to leveraging options and so much more. Phil continues to show that evolution is a key ingredient to having longevity in trading. Hello, Phil. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, Anthony. I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you again. Good to speak with you. Looking forward to today.
Absolutely. Always great to see you, Phil. I always have a great time talking to you, and I always learn a ton too, which I think is really special.
Well, thank you. It was a good year. Love to sit down, reflect on it, and I'm always happy to chat about the market.
Absolutely. Always love to hear from you on that subject of the market. So, talking about your 2024 annual review, I wanted to go back a little bit and just talk about your first trade review of your trading career. What inspired you to start looking back at your annual performance, and how has that changed over time for you?
Yeah, well, I think it's so important as a trader, whether you're in year 1, 5, 10, 20, to always sit down and reflect. You have to look at what you're doing well, what you need to improve on, and if you hit your goals or if you didn't hit your goals. It's just such an important part of the trading journey, is just reflection. I mean, it's kind of your report card. What are you doing well? Where are you struggling? Where are you making money? How can you improve on those setups that you're making money on? Where are you maybe inefficient? Where are you losing money? Maybe you want to just eliminate certain trades or certain setups. And the reviews have probably changed a little bit over the years, but I think they've been mainly consistent. Is that it's just an overall report card of reflection as to your overall trading. But your review also, there's two parts. Obviously, your profit loss is the biggest thing, right? What do you make on a year? That's your report card. But it also goes back to a year earlier. What did you want to work on last year, right? So a year ago, what were your goals for this year? Did you hit them, and did you stick to your plan? And overall, it's just a way for you to improve yourself, become more efficient, and hopefully just take yourself to the next level. Because no matter how long you've been trading or how experienced you are, all of us can get better, right? I mean, all of us can get better, all of us can improve, and all of us can, tweak our trading or tweak our performance to create a better profit loss, to create a better ourselves. And so the trading review is something I've done really since I started trading, and I think it's just an integral part of trading.
One of the things that stood out to me in your review for 2024 is that your expectations were something that you specifically talked about in terms of, not setting your expectations for a particular, type of amount or anything like that, because you're staying open to what the market gives you. And so one of the questions I had was, coming off of a good 2024, I saw a lot of people posting that they had a really great 24. Some people, their best ever year. What would you say to them in terms of expectations? Maybe people are looking to, double or triple in size, and that's where their expectations are coming into 2025. Having done this for, decades at this point, what advice would you give to them?
It's always been extremely important not to set extremely lofty goals. I set a goal, a financial goal that I know is achievable. I want to set that goal that's achievable in almost any type of market condition. I know I can hit this goal. It meets all of our financial needs and all of our investment needs and more so. But I think when you reflect on trading, you look at the last 5 years of trading or 10 years of trading, we all talk about, the year of 2020, and the year of 2020 was just such an exceptional year. And I know a lot of great traders had 8-figure years, and myself included, but you can't look at that year and say, okay, next year I want to double that or I want to triple that, because it's literally impossible. And I think you can get caught in a tailwind saying, I'm not meeting my goals, I'm not meeting my expectations. It makes you want to overtrade. It makes you want to take on too much size. And those are just very dangerous situations for traders to be in. So I think it's so important to set a goal that is realistic. And every year the market is going to trade, the market is going to give us a certain amount of setups, a certain amount of, A plus setups, a certain amount of, just extraordinary setups. And they might come weekly, they might come monthly, they may only come a few times a year. But you don't want to hamstring yourself in January or whenever you're setting your goals for the year of, I need to hit, this extreme level, because if the market doesn't give you those types of trades, those types of setups, I think you're just going to be in trouble. So I think it's extremely important for traders to not take this year, for example, or last year, for example, and say, I want a 2x it, I want a 3x it. I think it's important to say, okay, maybe I can improve. Maybe I want to get, financially make 10% more, 15% more. But more importantly, in your review, you want to say, okay, look at all of your trades. Where did you make all of your money, and how can you improve on those? And then look at your biggest losing trades. Why did you do this? Are your entries, do you need work on your entries? Do you need work on your exits? Do you need work on your, position sizing? So I think it's more important to look at your trades individually and improve on that, rather than just saying P&L and I want to double that or triple that, because that's just too dangerous of a thing to get into.
Are there any other lessons that you've learned over the years, having done trade reviews, that have carried over that you think are beneficial for traders out there to think about when they're, planning goals, for example?
Yeah. I think you have to keep an open mind, and I think traders have to keep an open mind, and you have to be able to adapt. The market that we had last year is not going to be the market we have this year. The market we have this year is not going to be the market you have next year. So traders consistently have to adapt to the market conditions. And I think, when it comes to goals, you just have to understand that. You can't just say, okay, this is what happened last year, these setups worked, and that's all I'm going to trade this year, because those setups may just not happen. It might be a completely different market, it might be a completely different trading environment. So you have to keep yourself open to that and not get too dead set on, exactly what happened last year, and just think to yourself that the same setups or the same trades are going to happen again, because they may happen again, but it just might not be next year. It might be 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, or 4 years from now. I mean, historically, the same patterns and the same setups usually do keep occurring, but they don't make it that easy for you that, oh, what worked this month is going to work next month, or going to work the month after, or going to work the month after that. So you have to keep an open mind, keep adapting, and overall just keep trading the environment that we have. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, is you want to trade what's in front of you. What's the current environment today? You have to trade that, because it just changes so frequently.
Yeah, that's a great point. And on the subject of adapting, one of the things that I noticed in your annual review was adapting. And it was kind of amazing to see you prioritize these long setups, because
Right.
a lot of people might just, associate you with shorting. And
Sure.
so here you are, thriving and doing a great job.
Well, I've traded now for almost 20 years, and primarily it's been as a short seller. I started trading options about eight-ish years ago, and now that's been a big chunk of my money is option trading. But the day-to-day trading has strictly been on the short side. And around 2020, 2021, I knew, I don't want to sit in front of my computer 7 to 4 anymore. I just don't want to do it, So for years during the summertime, I worked 1 to 2 hours a day, May through August or September, and I really wanted that to carry over through the rest of the year. Have the ability to work 1 or 2 hours a day. And as a short seller, especially a short seller in small caps, lower floats, that's really hard to do. I mean, it's really hard to perfect that and say, I'm only going to trade an hour a day or 2 hours a day. And I think over the years, I got kind of a little worn out and frustrated with maybe the difficulty of the shorting market, with the algorithms and the manipulators and some of the borrow cost. I had years, almost every year, my borrow costs were well into the 7 figures. And, you're paying borrow cost and short interest whether you make money or not. You're paying locates, you're paying short interest. And, it took probably 2022 into 2023. I realized, I will never give up trading. I will probably trade forever. I'm addicted to the markets. There's no doubt about that, but I don't want to do it 8 hours a day. So with my option strategy, I can do that an hour a day or 2 hours a day, but how can I still trade actively, but not be in front of my screens 8 hours a day? And, it's pretty common knowledge that the biggest money out there is made on the long side, right? I mean, all the biggest, it's just an indisputable fact. The biggest money is made on the long side, not the short side. So you have that along with the ability to kind of, get away from the borrow costs, get away from the short interest, kind of get away from a lot of the manipulators and algos that target these small caps, and just kind of join the, the long party, which again was, difficult transition because I've been a short seller my entire career, but again, still been involved in the market almost 20 years. I, do have, extensive market, background. So, the transition was, it worked out well. I'm not patting myself on the back. I mean, the SPY was up, 25% last year. So you could almost throw darts, buy and hold, and you're going to do fine. But, transitioning to the long game is obviously something I'm going to still tweaking today. I'll probably still tweak it next year. I'll probably still tweak it 5 years from now, because you're always going to want to say, hey, I can get better. What can I do here? What can I do there to increase your profitability, decrease your risk? So far, year one, it's been great. My focus day to day was really no longer shorting stocks. I rarely looked to short stocks. I shorted maybe a handful in 2024, but they were just in extreme situations, where my focus every morning when I got up, went to my computer, would be A, options, but B, I want to long stocks. I want to long either breakouts, I want to long earnings winners, I want to long just great companies. And the results were good, so I'm very happy. And the stress was much better than shorting, so that's something I enjoyed as well. So I did tweak a few things going forward into 2025, so we'll see how that stuff works out.
If you're looking for ways to take your trading to the next level in 2025, Investors Underground might be able to help. You'll have access to courses and mentors to learn from, some of the best technology available for scanning stocks and breaking news, and access to the chat rooms where you'll find a vibrant community of focused traders who share their trade ideas in real time each day. Members have access to the morning broadcasts where the IU moderators share their trade ideas for the day ahead during the pre-market session. Members have access to the midday study sessions with Stan, the midweek study sessions with Sam, webinars, moderator watch lists, and all the other resources that Investors Underground has to offer. Listeners of The Trader's Journey can access exclusive membership deals available at investorsunderground.com/journey. And now, back to our episode with Phil Goedeker. It's incredible to see, someone who's already done so well on the short side, embrace the other side of that and be able to succeed there as well. And,
Sure.
and I think you mentioned this just about, risk management on the long side compared to the short side, especially
Right.
in this environment.
Right.
It seems like a smart thing to do to equal out what you're capable of doing and doing well.
Right. Yeah. And I think, whether you're a long bias trader or a short bias trader, you want to follow the direction of the market. When the direction of the market is up, even shorting anything, it's a fight, right? I mean, you're, trying to fight these stocks to go down. I mean, even look at the month of December. Now, December is historically a very bullish month. It's almost, hard, if not impossible, to short stocks. But we look at these quantum computing stocks that just go up every single day. These companies don't make any money. They have low revenues. They have a couple employees. They're losing their butt, but you can't short them. I mean, you just can't. There's just so far there's no money to been made shorting these stocks. So when you look at the long game, if the market's going up and you have the trend on your side, it's just a much easier game. It's a much lower stress game. And I think what my strategy was last year, something I need to continue to work on, because it's something I probably am not completely satisfied with myself, but, was to find the best companies out there, with some of the best growth out there. NVIDIA is a great example. And I think I posted in my review, I bought NVIDIA several times during the past year. I bought it in the 50s while I sell for a few dollars. I bought it in the 60s or 70s while I sell for a few dollars, where if you can train yourself to buy and hold some of these names, you can just make such incredible money, that it takes a lot of the day-to-day stress out of trading and out of the market.
And are you still shorting on occasion? Maybe the best setups that are available. Is that something that you're still looking to do?
Yeah, I do. And the thing is that the one thing that has worked out about shorting last year for me is that I literally never scan for shorts. I've always been a big scanner. I'm on FinViz, I'm on Trade Ideas. I'm always scanning for stocks. I'm always scanning for ideas. And literally this year I never scanned for shorts at all. And that helped me because I just stayed away. But there was a couple or a few that really, stood out to me. One of them was SMCI back in February when we had the monster reversal from around, give or take, split adjusted $1,050, and I think it closed that day around 800. I mean, that's just an incredible opportunity. I've been trading for 20 years. Those setups just rarely occur. Another one was MicroStrategy back in, I believe it was November, mid-November. Stock was mid 500s, 530, 540. It reversed all the way down to 400. So, I did trade those two. I traded a handful of others. Those aren't the only two. Those are the two that really stick in my mind the most, as they had just incredible risk-reward potential. So I am still looking for, I will still continue to trade setups like that, but unfortunately those setups just rarely occur. But when the risk-reward just gets, so much in a short seller's favor, when you look at some of these stocks that are just so incredibly overbought and they had such extensive downside, I will always, I will play those. There's no doubt. But the day-to-day stuff, I just eliminate it. I don't even look at it anymore because, again, as a trader, you can only focus on so many things. So it's hard to focus on options and it's hard to focus on going long. And then, at the same time, looking at shorts. So continue to still probably short a handful of stocks a year, but it's absolutely no longer my, day-to-day focus.
And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. How did options become sort of your primary, mechanism to trade in the recent years?
Yeah, so options in 2024 probably accounted for close to 3/4 of my income, and I've been trading options for 8 years now, and it's something I've never talked a ton about, really, because of the inherent risk with options. Not to say I don't recommend it. I recommend everybody understand how to trade options, and I recommend everybody know options and understand options. Right now, options, volumes are exploding, and these 0 days till expiration, names are exploding, and so options are becoming extremely popular. I recommend everybody understand them. My method of option trading is I collect premium. I'm selling basically naked options for premium, which is extremely dangerous. And that's why I really don't discuss it a ton, but I'm basically selling options on, a few handfuls of names way out of the money. But, again, it is dangerous. I believe it was optionsellers.com. I forgot the guy's name, James Cordier, maybe something, blew up a hedge fund 7 or 8 years ago selling natural gas, options. So it is, full disclosure, you have to know what you're doing, but options has grown with me because, I just love it, I guess, number one. I don't know how else to say, but I can trade options an hour a day and make pretty good money, and I can feel pretty safe about it, where I can be in front of my computer for an hour in the morning, maybe 30 minutes at the afternoon, monitor the rest on my phone if I need to, and I can collect great premium across the board. So I absolutely love it. I don't think I will ever get away from option trading. For me, I think it'll continue to grow. Not to change the subject, but something that I really am fascinated about for 2025 is not so much option selling, but option buying. So for anybody out there that knows, most options are going to expire worthless. The majority of them expire worthless, which is what I want them to do. I want to sell an option, I want to collect the premium, and I want it to expire worthless. So taking the other side of that is buying options. You can, you can make exceptional money exceptionally quick, but you have to time it right. That's where the timing comes in, extremely handy. So when we look at SMCI, like back in February during that monster reversal, some of those options, I believe, went like 50x, which is just, absolutely incredible. It's just unbelievable. MicroStrategy back in November, those options went, at least the ones I seen, I don't know exactly where they went from the lows to the highs, but I know I was playing the 450 puts, those went 10x. I didn't make nearly that much on them. I think I made maybe 2x or 3x on there, but something that I want to look forward to in 2025 is, opportunities like that, some major extensions, some major exhaustion gaps is plain puts on the long side on those days. But it's difficult because puts will deteriorate extremely quick. If you're buying options in SMCI or MSTR MicroStrategy a day or two early, and that stock is holding or it's going against you, that option premium is decaying rapidly, and you're losing your money rapidly. So the timing is extremely important, but it's another avenue that I'm excited about, just about the really just because of the extreme potential that you have there to make, whether it's 5x or 10x or 15x, because that's something it's a gambler. It's a gamble trade. There's no doubt about it. But since I've been trading 20 years, it's something that, I'm fascinated about, no doubt.
Absolutely. I really appreciate, how much adaptability you have. It has always shown in your trading, a willingness to learn, but also find out, what the larger market strategy is offering to you and opportunities to capitalize on those different strategies, which I think is, you've shown here with options, whether it's options, selling premiums or, learning, how to take the other side of that options trade.
You have to be able to adapt as a trader. You have to be able to say, okay, yes, this particular strategy worked last year and I want to stick with it. I want to get better at it. But you have to be able to adapt to say, hey, this is where major moves are happening. Major volume is coming in this particular market or this particular area. So you have to be willing to adapt to that and give it a try and learn it, right? Learn it. And I think that's one thing that has helped me and has helped other successful traders is just their willingness to figure it out, right? Just figure something out, sit, study, look at it, and that's what makes the market so great. Is it's open every day, and the data is right here. The data is in front of all of us. Sometimes there's too much data, right? You can get overwhelmed with it, but sometimes I think traders and newer traders get help or ask for help, which is totally fine. If you have a mentor and you can get help or you can ask for help and somebody's willing to help you, somebody that's very, very, very successful is willing to help, that's great. But, the odds are, I think, for most traders, they're going to have to figure things out on their own. They're going to have to learn on their own. I learned 100% on my own. I was actually in Naples, Florida a week ago, and I met Mikhail Shadkin up at Capital for a lunch. I've traded with him for quite a while, and he said the exact same thing. He learned everything on his own. He's completely self-taught, and which I love. I'm glad 20 years ago I didn't have a teacher. I didn't really have social media. I didn't have anything, but I had to grind, right? I had to grind. I had the ability to sit down, look at the market, look at the data, and figure it out. And I think the market is the best teacher for anybody. Anybody out there, if you're young, the market's open, 6-7 hours a day. All the data's in front of you. All the historical data's in front of you. You just have to study it. You just have to look at it. You just have to, figure out the patterns, figure out where you can have an edge. And you can go, you can go, you can take off, but you just have to have that mentality and drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point, because there's going to be times, whether it's a news catalyst or something like that, where you're going to have to think on your feet. You're going to have all the data at your disposal, and you're going to have to learn how to, process that as fast as you can and make a decision, whether that's to trade or to not trade. And so, and it's one of the things I always appreciate about your trading style and philosophy is that you're always willing to learn and put in the work and to adapt, evolve as the market does as well.
There's absolutely no doubt. When I look at my how I made money, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I started out, I was a swing trader on the short side, waiting for a stock to get overbought, would short it, would hold it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it would give back, 80 to 90% of that move. There was no borrow cost. There was no locate fees. There was none of that. You look at the game today, if I would have stuck to that style and never adapted, I would lose consistently, because number one, you're paying extremely high, borrow cost, locate cost. But now you see, a lot of these small caps, or some of them, they're not even giving back all the moves. They might give back 10 or 20%, then rip again or hold. So strategies have to be tweaked. They don't have to be completely changed, but I think they always have to be tweaked, updated to stay on top of the game, right? And consistently just keep growing, because that's what you want to keep doing. Whether you're a business, or you're an individual trader, you want to keep growing. You have to keep growing. You have to adapt. So, If not, I don't see any other way about it.
What has been one of the big changes that you've made, that allows you to adapt your trading strategy to fit your personal life and the changes that happen there?
Well, really, eliminating, going short, was the biggest thing. When I looked at what do I want to do, when I turned 40, 6 months ago, and I knew, okay, a couple of years ago, I knew this. I don't want to sit. I don't want to work all day. I don't need to work really ever again. I have enough side investments and income, but I don't think not working will ever happen for me. I love the markets. I'm very addicted to the markets, so it will always, I will always trade to some extent. But if I can do that in an hour a day or 2 hours a day, that was the main goal, and that's completely what changed me from a short bias trader to a long bias trader. And it really just totally made sense because, if you're a long bias trader, when I say trader, really my main goal on the long side is more of an investor, or swing trader, not so much a day trader on the long side. My goal is to be more of a swing trader holding something 30 days, 60 days, 3 months, 9 months, 1 year out. So the goal of that is to find the best opportunities out there, a handful of them, 3 of them, 5 of them, maybe 10 of them, put in, get an entry, buy at the right entry, put in a stop, and, just wait, sit back and relax and wait. And the nice thing about that is you don't have to be in front of your computer. You don't have to be in front of your computer monitoring those trades. I think was it Jesse Livermore, another good trader said, or several traders have said this, most of your money is you're sitting and waiting. You're sitting on your hands. It's not sitting in front of your computer. It's not sitting down pushing the buttons. You're the big money is made sitting and waiting. So, with the options, I can trade an hour a day, be totally happy. With the longs, that's the goal as well. Put in, time, even after market on the weekends, doing the research, finding the best investments, buying, holding, putting in your stops. If the stops get hit, let them get taken out, and just moving on to the next ones.
Just a quick belated happy birthday. Welcome to this side of the 40 line.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. Hitting 40 was weird. Last day of the 30s, I actually didn't enjoy hitting 40 that day. I enjoyed the next day much better. But hey, I still feel young, so I'm ready to keep going. I hope to be still doing this 40 years from now.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going with this, which is, if you're part-time trading, how has that changed sort of the routine that you've grown accustomed to for the past 20 years, where you're maybe at the desk more of a 9 to 4 when the markets are open?
Well, it's been great because now I don't feel any need to get to the market, pre-market anymore. I get to the market 15 minutes before the open. Back as a short seller, you had to get to the market 2 hours before the open, sometimes 3 hours before the open, just to look for borrows, right? That's completely eliminated. You also had to get to the market to look for headlines anymore. I don't really do that. I don't really need to do that anymore. So, the first hour and a half is extremely important to me. That's where I'm doing all my trading. That's where I'm doing all my option trading. I'm usually executing my long trades if I want. And then, 10 a.m. Central Time, 10:30 Central Time, heading out, doing whatever I want to do, coming back in the afternoon, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, checking on the market, going from there. But it's been extremely, great just freeing up that time and stress of having to manage these small caps, even if it's on your phone, even if it's simply on your phone, because they're so erratic, they're so manipulated. So having that extra, basically, free time and really just mental space has been just great for me. So I'm extremely happy with that I transitioned that way in 2024, and I don't think there's no way I'll go back to being a full-time short seller again. So.
And since you're trading more on the long side these days, I wanted to talk about patience, which is a key characteristic of holding and being able to hold, your position for months, whereas as maybe a swing short, maybe you were holding for a couple days or maybe a week or so. Can you talk a little bit about, the important aspect of patience and how you are working through that to be the best possible, long sort of an investor or trader on the long side?
Well, the great thing about the market is you can have any strategy you want. You can be a long bias day trader if you want, but that's not what I want to do. I still don't want to day trade stock. So you were exactly right. I want to be more of a long bias swing trader, long bias investor. The patience is the hard part. That is something if I were to grade myself on patience in 2024, I would give myself I mean, maybe a D, C or D, a very low grade, because, my whole life, my whole 20-year career has been off taking profits. If you're up, whatever it is, let's say 10% on the long side, it's a good profit. Take those profits. But the sad part is when you see a stock 30, 60, 90 days later up 100%, 200%, maybe even 300%. You thought, holy cow, how much did I just leave on the table there? So patience is, by far the hardest thing for a trader, a day trader, to try to adapt to and say, okay, now I want to be more of an investor. So, something that I'm tweaking in 2025 would be going back to what I talked about earlier. I've always been a scanner. I'm always scanning for stocks. I'm always scanning for breakouts. I'm always scanning for, just stocks that I think are going to go higher, either on the short term or on the long term. So I think something that I need to do is almost slow that down or eliminate that and look for the best investments, look for the best swing trades or investments, something I can say, hey, this is a 30-day trade. This is a 60, 90-day trade, whatever that is. I'll give you an example. Back in December, I bought Reddit, give or take around $100. I bought the symbol ALAB, granted, give or take in the mid-90s. Both of those stocks are, just considerably higher from here. I think I made a 10, 12% gain on both of those in a week's time. So I thought, hey, 10 or 12% in 1 week, I'm going to get out. Well, from here, they're up, I don't know, give or take 60, 70, 80%. But, the hard part is that when I'm constantly scanning, basically it comes down, I think, over trading. When you have a big bull market like we had in 2024, so many stocks are going up. So many stocks are breaking out. So I would buy, lots of stocks, lots of breakouts. Some of them you'd make money on. Then they would go back and fail, which in turn tells you to, hey, take profits quicker. But I'm not letting the investments ride, which I really, that's my goal as a trader, long bias trader. Buy the best investments, let them ride, and have the patience. But to answer your question about patience, it is probably my biggest issue, hands down, as a long bias trader, is letting those trades go, letting those trades ride. Because you're always fearful it's going to fail, right? Hey, if you're up 5%, it's better than covering flat, or it's better than stopping out at a 5% loss. So, I'm accustomed to seeing those profits, taking those profits. There's the old adage, you'll never go broke taking profits. I was very happy with the profits I took, but then when you look back a month or 2 months, you thought, oh my gosh, if I would have just not traded. That's what it came down to. If I would have just bought the best investments out there, not traded them, just held them, you could have made, just a lot more money. But again, the hard part goes back to differentiating those best investments from the ones that may end up failing. So, again, that's something I'm going to work through in 2025, and we'll see where I'm at, 6 months or a year from now.
How do you think it's benefited you to trade around seasonality, not just in maybe your executions or your P&L, but also just on like your well-being?
Yeah, well, I live here in the Midwest. I'm an outdoors person, so I love to be outside all year round. I hate, being stuck inside. So that's why, April to May through September, I only want to work an hour a day, 2 hours a day. And I've done that for 5 to 6 years now. When the weather is kind of cruddy, that November to March, there's not as much else to do. So you're kind of stuck inside. So I am trading, that time a little bit more, but it does, benefit me that the market is historically busier those times of the year. November through March or November through April is historically a lot busier, and the summer times are a lot slower. So with my schedule, it works out perfectly. When the market is slower, I'm not working as much anyway. I don't see those, opportunities. I'm not even looking for them. And the summer, they're not happening nearly as much. So, definitely works out well that the market's a little bit busier this time of the year because there's not as much to do.
For those listening who might be struggling a bit with their, trade life balance, what suggestions or advice would you give to them, especially, if they're coming off a killer year in 2024 and, they maybe want to spend 12, 16 hours at the desk because the market is providing opportunities?
Yeah, well, I knew how I feel, right? And I know when I work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, I come out zapped. My brain is zapped, and I don't like that feeling. And you better hope that if you're going to sit and work 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, that you're making good money. Sure, back in my earlier career, in my early 20s, mid-20s, even 30 years old. I'm going to work those hours either way because that's my job. I'm grinding. I want to for sure push to the next limit. Now that I'm here in 20 years, I have no, desire to do that anymore. So you have to listen to your body. If your body's telling you, hey, slow down, you have to slow down. Now, I'm different from traders in a few certain ways. I will trade the open no matter what. I trade the open, when my wife was in labor. I trade the open when we're traveling. We're just in Florida for a week. I trade the open all year round. I will never miss it. I mean, I think in the last 20 years, I've missed 5 market opens, but what differentiates me as a trader too is I will work sometimes, 4 or 5 months a year, or sometimes as little as 30 minutes. So, you have to know as a trader, as you get to the next level, and it goes back to your review or your trade analysis. When are you making money? When are you making money? What time of the day are you making money? And what particular setups are you making money on or not making money on? So if hey, the last hour of the day is where I make all my money, well, then just trade the last hour and maybe a little bit more. You have to know, you have to have the data, right? So that goes back into this whole thing of doing a trade review. You have the data to pull from, and you want to put yourself in a situation where you can trade when you're the most profitable, or trade the most setups that you're the most profitable on, and eliminate all the rest. I know a good chunk of all my profits are going to come the first hour of the day. Or maybe the last 30 minutes of the day if I'm putting on more option trades. So I can trade that. The rest, just let it go. It doesn't matter to me, just meaningless to me. So, any trader, again, if you're early in your career, just starting out, I don't think there's anything well, you said work 10 or 12, 14 hours a day. That's crazy. That's a lot. But, you're in your career, there's nothing wrong with working 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, because that's what it probably is going to take you to get to the next level and keep building. But once you hit a certain point, I think that's just crazy to do that to yourself. I think it's too, we've heard of traders having heart attacks even in their 30s. I've read online of traders that have heart attacks in their 30s with almost no symptoms, and there's just absolutely no reason to put yourself through those stressors. Once you have, the money and you've hit a certain level, you need to just be smart and think about what you want to do with your life, especially if you have young kids. I have 2 young kids, 9 and 11, and I coach almost all their sports, or a lot of their sports. I'm involved with everything. So, and I realize I'm happier, honestly, doing that stuff. I'm definitely happy the first 30 to 60 minutes of the market open, but after that, I'm happier getting out of my office, going to do something else. So I think you listen to your body. What's it telling you? What do you want to do? But trader burnout is real. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And, I've talked about it before. I probably speak in Vegas or something, but you have to trade with a free and clear mind every single day. And, if you're putting in extremely long hours in an extremely stressful market, that is not a free and clear mind. And there's just no way to trade at your best. So you have to take time off. You have to get away from the screens. You have to get away. And it doesn't even have to be a vacation. It can just be, just staying out of your office, doing something you like. Exercise. I exercise 7 days a week. It helps reset me extremely well. But being healthy, both in your mind and your body, is an extremely important aspect of trading. It's something that you just can't overlook.
Phil, for the last topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the specific things in 2024, which you look back on and what your thoughts are about them. So the first question I have is, what trade or set of trades would you say you're most proud of in 2024, if there even was one or two in particular that stick out?
Yeah, there's a few, and my option strategy is a repetitive strategy. I'm selling options, I'm letting them expire, and then I'm doing it all over again. The option strategy worked extremely well in 2024. I don't have any specific trades, but just as a basket, it worked well. As far as individual trades, I'm happy. I mentioned earlier the 2 short sells that I had, SMCI and MSTR. I'm happy with those trades. They were both right at 7-figure trades for me. I know MSTR was, SMCI was right about that, but I'm happy with those trades, but I'm also very disappointed with those trades because, happy to make 7 figures. There's no doubt about it. But when I look at the potential that was there that I left on the table, it's almost mind-boggling that, I didn't do more. Now the SMCI trade, to give myself some credit, I've been an option seller for 8 years. I don't really play the long side. So that was kind of new to me, just even playing the long side. And then after I played the long side in SMCI, I thought to myself, hey, when these situations present themselves more, I need to follow them. And so I did on MSTR, and I still had a, good day into 7 figures, but still I didn't, I left a lot of money on the table. And I think that's one of the hard things as a trader. And some you don't want to do. I'm not down on myself, but when you see that huge potential that was there, I'm a little disappointed that I left so much on the table, but I also have really, really big excitement for that same situation to hopefully have a couple times in 2025. If it does, I'm going to be there for it. There's no doubt about it. So I'm looking forward to that. So those trades stand out for me. They were both good days. Didn't hit them quite as much as I wanted to, but I think the reason they stand out is more of a learning experience. To say, hey, the next time this happens, I want to be there for it. And I want to be there for it in a big way. The other trade that probably stands out for me, those are probably, IBIT. I did long Bitcoin IBIT last, maybe March or April. And I did have a fair size of Bitcoin, and I was able to hold that through the ups and downs. I did think a possible Trump election would push it through 100,000. Definitely had some, Bitcoin is extremely volatile, held through some, fails down into the 50s when Bitcoin was down in the 50,000s, held through it when Trump's odds were up on Poly Market about a month before the election. I was adding more. And then luckily we had, the Trump bump after the election, sold about half into the, right at $100,000 mark. But I was happy for myself to have that, and then a couple other trades where I did have the patience to hold, for 6 months to 8 months. Because again, going back through 2024, I would say 99% of my long trades I sold in under, 2 weeks, sometimes 1 week. So I'm glad that I still had patience on a few of them, hoping to continue to grow, grow more of those in 2025.
What would you say was maybe the top lesson that you learned or reinforced in 2024 from trading?
Top lesson is still, stick with what you're good at, stick with your niche, stick with what's working. Try to learn new ideas. Try to learn new methods. But when you do that, learn them with small size. Understand there's going to be a learning curve. Understand you're going to have to take time. You're not going to learn anything overnight. So again, even going back to my long trading, did I execute my longs in 2024 the way that I wanted to? No, I did not. Like I just said, I sold most of them way too quick, extremely fast. I over traded on the long side. So disappointed with that, but also hopeful that, hey, I understand now kind of where some of those mistakes were, understand where the potential is to do a lot better and improve on. So I would say those are probably my biggest takeaways.
Were there any market trends that you kind of think you were caught by surprise with that happened in 2024? Was there anything surprising about the market or particular trends that you saw?
I was a little surprised at the overall market strength throughout the entire year. It just seemed like, we did have a monster correction on August 5th, I believe it was. I mean, it wasn't really a monster correction. It was more of a VIX explosion, which caused, some chaos. But I think something that surprised me was just the overall market strength and just, continued bullishness through the year. Because I don't follow analysts. I never have been a fan of analysts. And the real reason is, I read something maybe a week ago. What did the S&P 500 close at for the year? I mean, around 6,000, I don't know, give or take. But, what was, I think the average year-end price target of analysts was, 1,000 points under that, so it shows you what little, they know. But, overall market strength, probably about it, really.
If you had to describe the market in 2024 in one word or a couple words, what do you think it would be? What would you use?
Fun, exciting. So those are the two words, but to expand on that a little bit, just no short of trading setups. Whether you're a long bias trader, whether you're a short bias trader, whether you're equities, options, the opportunities are there daily. I mean, the opportunities to make money are there daily, and you can't ask for a better market. It doesn't matter whether you're an investor or a trader. This is last year was a market we lived for. So hopefully, if it can continue, I'll be very happy.
Yeah. And what one or two words or a few words would you use to describe your trading in 2024 and the year you had?
Good. I'm very happy. Overall financially, it was maybe my fourth best year ever. So I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. Again, the biggest takeaway for a review is what'd you make? What'd you make or what'd you lose, right? P&L. It really, at the bottom of the day, comes down to P&L. I'm very happy with that. There's always things to tweak. I'm probably could be classified as a perfectionist. I like things to be perfect or as close to perfect as they can be. So I always see mistakes, see things that I can improve on. So that will never change. But 2024 was, really a fantastic year. So.
And what are you looking forward to in 2025? What sort of goals do you have in place for yourself in the upcoming year?
Financial goals are about the same. Like I said, I just want to hit a certain level, probably about half of what I made this year, because you just don't know what the market's going to give you. But my goal is patience. There's no doubt about it. On the long side, it has to be patience. On the long side, as a long side investor or swing trader, my goal is to find less opportunities. Okay, I want to find less trades, but find better trades. So focus on the best of the best, what I think might have the best possible growth. Focus on those, focus on a handful, buying them, putting in stops, letting them ride, where I don't even have to look at them or focus on them on a daily basis, letting them ride. And trading less, definitely trading less. I definitely still over traded in 2024. Something that I learned in 2024, being a long bias trader, is the opportunities are just mind-boggling. When you're a short seller, you focus on, okay, what's overbought, right? What is overbought? What do you think is going to fall? What do you think is going to go down? When you're a long bias trader, I think the opportunities, at least for me in my eyes, were just endless. I mean, there was just so many opportunities. Some of them, I did very well on. Some of them I did poorly on. Some of them, but I think the opportunity for me is to cut out, stop looking for so many opportunities and just focus on some of those best opportunities, get into those, hold those, and maybe not even look at them during the day at all. Look at them at the end of the day, see how that chart looks at the end of the day and cut out the noise of the intraday trading, because that's a lot of, if you're an investor, if you're a true investor, then intraday trading is kind of noise, right? What a stock does during the day. It's more of how does it look on the weekly chart, right? How does it look on a monthly chart? What it does in a 5-minute bar chart, a 10-minute bar chart it's meaningless. So trying to reprogram my brain after 20 years of truly, truly active trading is definitely difficult, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get there.
Thank you. And Phil, last question. For those listening who would love to learn more about you, how you trade, or maybe even contact you, how can they do so?
I'm on Twitter still at TradeSTL. I'm not very active on Twitter, but I think some of my speeches from Las Vegas or, the Traders for a Cause conference are still out there, either under Ozark Trades, my old Twitter handle, or new Twitter handle, TradeSTL. I am in Investors Underground chat room. I'm only there for about an hour a day because that's all I really trade. But if anybody had questions, you can reach out to me there on Twitter. So those are the best ways right there.
Thank you. And yes, highly recommend everybody go join Project Impact and go try to find wherever you can Phil's speeches at Traders for a Cause. There's two that I remember, and they're just incredible. And I hear a lot of traders refer to them, and say that they were, instrumental for them. The paper cuts speech comes to mind. I was there for that, and that was a game changer for me and so many others out there. So thank you so much, Phil, for everything that you provide for the trading community and for talking with us today. Really appreciate it.
Awesome, Anthony. I enjoyed it. I always look forward to talking to you, buddy.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Trader's Journey. We have additional episodes we believe you might also like, so don't forget to subscribe. You'll be notified of upcoming releases the moment they're available. Thanks for tuning in.